Hello, everyone. This is Adam Sabera with Psychedelic Insights. Hope you guys are all having a wonderful day today. In today's episode, we're going to be covering Cybin, what's going on with Cybin. The stock has been soaring the last week, so we're going to cover that. And we're joined today by, as usual, Jake Slomowitz and a new person or a new face to add to the Psychedelic Insights team is Steve McCracken. So he's going to be joining us and he's going to be doing some content with us. He can say hi if you'd like. And yeah.
What's up, everybody? Looking forward to talking about this.
Yeah, great to have Steve on. We've been talking with Steve on Twitter for the past couple of months, maybe even a year for me. Loved his takes always on the sector, and it's great to have him on. So without further ado, let's talk about Cybin. Steve, I know you and I hold Cybin. I don't know about you, but I've had a hard time not checking my phone every 10 minutes to look at the stock price,
especially during the week.
Yeah, it's I've been obsessively checking it. It's a little bit of a problem. I'm sure a lot of our viewers can relate to that. I know we have a lot of Cybin investors, but let's just talk about what's driving this this stock to just, absolutely soar. Every time this thing corrects a little bit, it goes right back up to new highs. So obviously I think, this started when Cybin acquired Small Pharma. And, the news of Steve Cohen, the best stock trader of all time, arguably, and his 0.72 buying 8% of the company. That's nothing to scoff at. That's a lot of equity. You can say, yeah, it wasn't a lot of money for them, but they bought out 8% of the company, and that's nothing to ignore. And the stock just has been soaring. Let's see. Let's just, I guess, talk about Small Pharma. Well, what do you guys think about that acquisition?
I think it's a killer acquisition. It's setting them up to do well in the MDD because they already have Cybin already has CYB 003 for MDD, and then SPL from Small Pharma, SPL 026 MDD with DMT. So it's like a double header right there. They've got two chances to knock out MDD, and I think DMT seems like the way to go with some of these. You know what I mean? Faster acting, quicker results. And a lot of people say that their experiences are, the most meaningful they've ever had with DMT. So,
yeah. And, they're trying to even, both programs with their deuterated DMT, they're trying to extend the trip. I know Cybin is looking at subcutaneous. Small Pharma is looking at intramuscular.
And intravenous too.
Yeah, you're right. I think that was more proof of concept for them, but it's definitely, maybe they do look at it more. I know they're looking at SSRIs with SPL026 to see if the people can continue taking that medication while they do DMT, which I think is important for scalability in the future. But I love how they're combining their IP and they could go forward with the best DMT program. Now, Adam, you and I like to always debate about who our favorite NN-DMT program is in the space. I would think that you believe Cybin and Small Pharma combined is got to be one of the top dogs, right?
In regards to NN-DMT, there isn't much competition that's publicly traded right now. So at the end of the day, I think that Cybin and with the Small Pharma acquisition's in a really good spot. They essentially just bought out their competition. So at the very least, that's what they have going for them in terms of their DMT program. So yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, great point. And I view Cybin as just a short-acting psychedelic drug developer powerhouse right now. I'm very excited about them, and something we all need to keep in mind as Cybin investors, as much as we are very excited about them, we are taking a bet that, at least if you're a longer term holder, that they're going to be able to raise more money, hopefully after these results come out with CYB 003. Cybin has said some big words that they're expecting FDA breakthrough therapy designation by the end of the year. I mean, if that happens, that will obviously be huge. That doesn't happen every day where the FDA grants breakthrough therapy designation. I was impressed with their phase 1/2A interim data showing that the CYB3 program kind of matched up with their preclinical what they saw in preclinical studies, and that's huge. It's shorter acting. It comes on faster than normal psilocybin. I think it takes 15 minutes for it to actually take its effect. I find it hard to, and I want to hear your take, guys. I just find it hard to believe that if they show a shorter acting version of psilocybin with strong IP is showing great results, I find it hard that they won't be able to find funding of some sort. What do you guys think?
I agree. I think that you would be like if they are showing a shorter acting psilocybin that is just as effective as Con360, then yeah, it's a no-brainer. But I guess we'll have to see kind of what happens throughout the trials.
Yep, I agree with both of you. And I don't think the problem will be finding the funding. I think it'll be at what price they have to raise the capital at, you know what I mean? And how much dilution they have to bring to the table to raise that funding.
Yeah, that's a good point. So before I actually invested in Cybin, now this again, guys, none of this is financial advice. This is just our opinions and our takes. I took into account dilution. I said, if I'm adding $200 million to this market cap, is it still undervalued? And I said to myself, yes, it is. Just me personally. But, yeah, these companies will need to dilute. Cybin has utilized the ATM, I believe. And Steve, by any chance, do you happen to know their financial position? I know we talked about it on the phone the other day.
I think I was reading in August, they had about 18 mil cash on hand in August. And I believe that was after the 8 mil that they got through the offering. But they are set up, and their burn's like 14 mil a quarter at the moment, give or take, a couple 100,000.
Yeah.
They also have, I believe, 2 ATMs up right now, one for 30 mil with Lincoln Park Capital, and then another one that's just in general with 35 mil up to 35 mil with common shares through September 2025.
I see. Do we know how much they've used of these ATMs yet?
Couldn't tell you. No clue.
Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, I think they're going to be good before data comes out at least, and I think that's going to be the most important thing. I know when the small pharma acquisition closes, they will get, I think, 13 million from what they have. But no, this is
does the small pharma acquisition add any like meaningful cash burn to Cybin's quarter
That's a great question.
That is a good question.
I don't know, to be honest. I actually couldn't say.
I think I actually asked Doug this, but I don't even remember what he said. I think it wouldn't be anything like significant. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, listen, guys, for phase 3, and they said they're planning a phase 3. They're going to need hundreds of millions of dollars. So it's going to be tough, but I'm very optimistic. I like the bet on Cybin right now. It's nice to, see some of these stocks, or just Cybin at least, go up while just everything is getting absolutely massacred right now. And I think I'm sure there's Cybin investors right now saying, oh my God, should I just seeing how many times these pumps just sell off. My opinion is I think it will come back down to earth eventually. I think it's going to have to. But what's earth? That's a good question. I don't know. I'm guessing, maybe the 45-cent range. But me personally, not financial advice, I'm not selling anything until these results come out. Unless it went meme, I would be forced to sell some. I need to be financially responsible. I've learned that lesson too many times, seeing gains
So wait,
disappear.
so how long do we have until the results come out? An
Good
ideal world.
question.
Okay, so we got they have a ton of results. Assuming this acquisition goes through, right?
Yeah.
They've got CYB003 and CYB004 results are supposed to be in by the end of the year. They even said in their milestones they're hoping to start phase 3 of CYB003 before the end of the year, and they're hoping to start phase 2 of CYB004 by the end of the year. And then with small pharma, they're looking to have the results for phase 1 IV versus IM and phase 1 with the SSRI drug interaction results for SPL 026 by the end of the year, and then SPL 028 for IM IV results as well by the end of the year. So all of these results are supposed to be by the end of this year, best case scenario, and that's what they're hoping for.
So the next 3 months, essentially.
Should be huge news. Yep.
That's not a long time. So this should be very exciting to see what's going on. Either smart money's kind of positioning itself and like we understand what's going to be happening, or we'll definitely see some profit taking over the course of the next few months. I don't know.
I think it's both. I definitely think we're going to see both of those, like you said, because I've noticed a lot. It's buy the hype, sell the news. You know what I mean? Especially even for phase 2 or phase 2 trials and stuff like that. It's so much of buy the hype. It runs it up. And then as soon as the news comes out, selling it off. And it's crazy to me.
And, the thing is, these phase 2 results could be good and it could still sell off because, for instance, there could be investors out there who, the smart money, they're looking for certain endpoints and the results could be good, but it doesn't meet up to their expectations and they sell. That could always happen. We saw what happened with Compass. Their results were, they were good, but people had much higher expectations. I know from speaking with people and even myself, when I saw the results, I was expecting more. But let's also not forget Cybin's looking at major depressive disorder. And typically I major in MDD, they're, obviously it's not an easy population to treat, but it's not the same as treatment resistant depression. Exactly. But just from, I watched Cybin's R&D day video.
What has the bigger addressable market, MDD or?
MDD for sure. The question I've always had is, I think it's going to be, they're going to have to prove that it's way more effective, I think, than the current standard of care for, just antidepressants.
What is that, Prozac?
Yeah, Prozac, I guess Zoloft.
Or that can be used in conjunction with it appropriately.
Exactly. Steve, that's a great point. So Cybin is letting patients remain on their antidepressants, which I think could actually yield better results. I know a lot of people have in the Compass trial, and in general, people have a hard time coming off of these antidepressants, and then you're asked to go directly into a huge psilocybin journey. That's a lot. It's a lot. I like the approach Cybin is taking. I'm excited about this company. I love their team. Doug Drysdale is Adam, we've spoken to him. He's just a top-notch CEO. He's brilliant. He's helped raise $4 billion for a bunch of companies. He has a history with M&A. I'm excited for Cybin, and that's
the sector
all I have. Yeah,
Cybin and the sector. I definitely think that, if Cybin does well with their trials and starts to turn a corner, that it can help, the rest of the sector maybe get a little footing and not be just consistently having red days day after day. So
yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Nobody was looking at Cybin like this big monster the impression I'm getting from you guys is like this small farm acquisition just changed them completely. But when you really look at it on paper, it didn't really change that much. They were overlapping on a lot of like molecules. So my question is where was this energy coming from, like Cybin bulls like yourselves? Where was this energy prior to the small farm acquisition? I was not hearing this out of you guys, and I have to be devil's advocate a little bit because I'm just curious. I just want to know.
Steve, you want to go first?
I think I think this .72 purchase, set a fire underneath a lot of these bulls. You know what I mean? It started the big movement. They saw this 18 million shares traded in a day. I've been bullish on Cybin this whole time. I think, like you said, Doug is doing a wonderful job. You know what I mean? And he's continued to do a wonderful job. I've mostly just been sitting on my hands, waiting to see what he's going to do, because he's been making killer moves with everything he's doing. And it's more of a time game for me. I don't plan on selling, anytime soon. These drugs are going to take a while to get, out there, either way. So it's waiting to see what's happening. And then this .72 share purchase was just started the fire, like I said.
Yeah.
Was it the same for you, Jake? Was it the .72 that kind of gave you the validation?
So I actually I've talked about it on Twitter. I was always interested in Mindset Pharma and Cybin in terms of shorter acting, next generation drugs. I just by a little bit, I decided, so because I only have so much money to invest in the space, I decided just barely that I was going to go with Mindset. They got bought out. I sold. And I remember hearing about the small pharma news days before, and I was like, crap, like I wish I would have gotten some Cybin too, but it was almost like I got very lucky with timing. I once it was announced Mindset got bought out, then I see Cybin here. They have data coming out. They acquire small pharma, great management. My favorite part about the acquisition is, again, I said it before, they just have so much data now on deuterated DMT. I see a lot of promise in deuterated DMT, especially with extending the trip.
Hold on, I gotta interrupt you. Hold on, I'm sorry, but this is something that. But if it's there's Cybin's deuterated DMT and there's small pharma's deuterated DMT, yes, right? Yes. So let's say, at the end of the day, I feel like for me that move is just basically eating up your competition. I don't know which one's going to perform better in the trial, but what if Cybin's performs better in the trial? Then it's like, was it worth buying small pharma just for that? That's where my brain goes.
That's a really good point. I just think it's important for them to combine their IP, because they're not the only ones working on deuterated DMT from what I'm hearing. Or at least deuterated psychedelics. I did hear in an interview from, the CEO of Mindset Pharma, James Lanthier, that in their eyes, the deuterated drugs were a little bit of low-hanging fruit, and a lot of people were going after that. So they just have a larger IP, I guess, stronger IP now together, and they could license out that IP too. Other companies might be interested in the IP they have for other indications. But it's a good point. It's a good point that you make. But I just like, again, that the combined programs, the combined teams, small pharma had a lot of smart money behind them. Christian Angermeyer's fund was invested in them. Ambria Capital, I know, we're early investors in small pharma. Just the teams together. Again, sorry, I'm going on here. Their IP, and I really do think it's a big deal that they get to pick the best deuterated drug, deuterated DMT to move onward with, because it's no guarantee. Adam, we've asked Doug plenty of times, do we think that the subcutaneous injection is going to be able to elicit a full-blown breakthrough DMT experience? Maybe it doesn't, and then the intramuscular injection from small pharma is really what ends up doing it. Who knows? It's just kind of my take. I
get it. So what I'm getting from you is, like, it's good to have options.
Exactly.
And now they got options.
Yes, I couldn't afford it like that. But no, also in terms of the IP, like, it's also useful for if they've covered a lot of things that maybe, for instance, GH Research, they're interested in 5-MeO DMT. They're not working on any next-gen drugs. I don't know what they're doing. They're the only company in the space I see not working on next-gen. Maybe they're interested in the IP that Cybin has on deuterated 5-MeO. So it's not just about the IP that they're working on directly. That's what I'm starting to learn a little bit more in this space. People are filing IP on drugs they're not even working on. and that's just the way it
You're
is.
trying to get as much as possible.
Yeah, and they're trying to create a competitive advantage here. Like I saw a patent that filed by a Thai on 5-MeO for cluster headaches or something. I was like, since when the hell was a Thai working on that? It's just the IP landscape. I mean, I have so much to learn about that. We all do. But no, it really is big in the space.
I guess for me, and this is where my perspective is coming from, is I like this story for Cybin and I like what Cybin's doing, but I'm not completely sold on them just yet. And I just want to see kind of what's going to happen over the next, let's say, 3 to 4 months. And that's where I'm at.
I mean, the biggest, as we all know here, the biggest catalyst is going to be how good is their data. That's all that kind of matters, really. The stock price can be all nice now, but if they release bad results, which I really don't think they're going to, based on the phase 1/2A interim data I saw, people in the phase 1, I think like 60% rated the experience top 5 of their life in terms of meaning. I think that's a good sign of efficacy to come. But you never know. These are very risky investments, and but we'll see. I think data is going to tell the story, and I'm excited.
All right, what about you? What are your closing remarks, Steve?
I'm just excited for the future. I'm excited to see these results coming out by the end of the year, see where we land, really, like you were saying. Where do we land at? That's what I'm looking forward to.
Got you. So I think, like, all in all, this is you got a little bearish and you got a little bullish. Obviously I'm not extremely bearish in regards to Cybin. I do like the company a lot. I like Doug Drysdale a lot, but at the end of the day, I want to see how this story unfolds. And I guess something to kind of leave the audience with is I was having a conversation with somebody else in the community recently regarding why is no one deuterating MDMA, and we kind of couldn't come up with answers. So maybe someone in the community knows, but I just want to leave that with you guys. So why isn't anyone deuterating MDMA? Leave your answer in the comments. Jake is not allowed to respond. We'll hear from him next video. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, everyone. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you. Welcome to Psychedelic Insights. Like and subscribe. Thank you.